Hello there, we are live in Abuja. Thank you indeed for joining us on Weekend File. With the introduction of the Global System for Mobile Communications, GSM, in Nigeria at the turn of the millennium, and specifically with the evolution of the internet and social media, which have greatly impacted the information sharing system, Nigeria is ranked as partly free in terms of freedom of expression on the internet. The new information age has curated a virtual surrounding with loads of information, a large part of which is reliable, with the most significant chunk unverifiable. Thus, discerning truth from hearsay has become an enormous task. Fake news has recently raised a lot of concerns because of its impact prevalent in contemporary democratic politics. Fake news spreads like wildfire and difficult to contain or correct. More so, its capacity to distort the eventual truth makes it a threat in any democratic setup. The question is, why do people fall for fake news and how do we combat it? It is clear that the fight against fake news needs the cooperation of all, including community of fact-checkers, media organizations, government, and the grassroots. Fake news is a national scourge in Nigeria, and it needs national solutions. No time is more vulnerable than now, when misinformation via social media has led to wanton destruction of lives and property across some states of the Federation under the disguise of NSAS protest. Fake news and hate speech threaten the peace, unity, security and corporate existence of Nigeria, stoking rivalries and hostilities between different ethnic nationalities. Tonight on Weekend File, we shall focus on fake news and its impact on national development. Our guest is former Director, Public Affairs, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Awal Salihu. Of course, we shall also feature reports. I am Kenan Ima Abodike. Now in the news. Let's start by telling you that the federal government has restarted its commitment in protecting the media and its practitioners in the country. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed restated this in Lagos when he paid a solidarity visit to the management of Vintage Press, publishers of the Nation newspaper. Anthony Forson reports.
The newspaper headquarters was attacked on the 21st of October by hoodlums who hijacked the peaceful protest calling for an end to police brutality, tagged NSAS. In the attack, parts of the building was burned, vehicles destroyed, and properties looted. The minister, accompanied by the Director General Radio Nigeria, Managing Director, News Agency of Nigeria, Executive Secretary, Nigeria Press Council, Registrar of APCAN, and the Acting Director General, NBC. They were conducted round the premises where they assessed the level of damage. Expressing displeasure over the incident, Lai Mohammed said it is condemnable that with no provocation, the media, which is a pivot upon which democracy thrives, will be attacked.
The fact that within a few days you're able to return to the stand, I think is a big blow to the naysayers who thought they could put out the light of press freedom. We believe that the attack on the nation is not just an attack on the vintage press, it's an attack on the free press, it's an attack on democracy. Because there can no be any virile, robust democracy without a free media. Therefore, an attack on nation or any media whatsoever is a direct attack on freedom of speech and also on democracy.
Assuring that government will continue to support responsible journalism, it will not fold its arms and condone the promotion of fake news and hate speech. Hence, the need for a mechanism that will regulate the social media, which has become a potent tool.
Social media is here to stay. And it's going to be an antithesis to democracy for anybody to even attempt to shut down the social media. However, we must regulate the social media in a manner that does not become a purveyor of fake news and hate speech.
While government, the minister said, is looking into the demands of the NSAS protesters, some have already been met. He therefore called for restraints. Chairman of Vintage Press, Olawale Edun, expressed gratitude, describing the minister and his entourage's visit as encouraging. He, however, said, despite the destruction and loss of property, no casualty was recorded. In Lagos, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The media has a critical role in protecting the public interest, being the voice of the voiceless and setting the agenda for the society. But when it comes under attack by the people it seeks to protect, it becomes a source of concern. This resonated when some prominent personalities from the Cross River State government who have continued to pay visits to NTA Calabar described the recent attack on the NTA Calabar as highly condemnable. Umo Basi Edit has the details.
The Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly, Williams Eteng, was accompanied on the visit by some members of the State Assembly. Also in NTA Calabar to inspect the extent of damage and to commiserate with the staff of the station.
Calls for a lot of inner thought. I mean, how can young people just take laws into their hands and do what they've done here? It's unimaginable. It will cost a whole lot to get NTA Calabar back.
The General Manager NTA Calabar, Cyril Abuja, in an emotion-laden voice describes the attack as man's inhumanity to man.
What we saw that day is something that I've never witnessed before in my life. I could see the level of anger and hatred in a man's heart. I could not believe that a human being could perpetrate such evil against another.
From the control room to the studio, offices, vehicles and furniture, nothing was spared by the hoodlums. In Calabar, Umo Basidit, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has described as untrue the rumors that it denied members of the Lagos State government's panel of inquiry and restitution investigating the cases of brutality and human rights violation allegedly committed by dissolved SARS and the Lekki toll gate shooting access into the military hospital in Lagos to inspect the facility.
In a statement by the Acting Deputy Director, Public Relations, 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major Olani Oshoba, the misunderstanding that ensued was based on the fact that the appropriate authority was not notified before the panel embarked on the unscheduled visit to inspect the military morgue. He states further that the panel and its entourage were eventually granted access to the facility. The release further indicates that military facilities globally are restricted areas that can only be accessed after due authorization, with emphasis that the initial resistance to allow the panel members access to the military facility could have been avoided if due process had been followed.
Officers and men of the Nigerian Police Force FCT Command have been applauded for exhibiting a maximum restraint during the NSAS protest. Francis Form reports that the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamur, gave the commendation when he visited the FCT Command.
This is the first visit of the IGP to the FCT Command after the protest.
The aim was to demoralize you.
Besides the word of caution, he encouraged them to remain resolute in the discharge of their duties. The police chief, who recalled the mayhem meted on vehicles, property and destruction of public and private facilities, said it was a phase that should be put behind and lessons learned, even as the officers in the command, despite the provocation, acted professionally.
Those officers that lost their lives all over the country, they will not die in vain, because adequate compensation has been planned for them in an extensive manner to show that they serve their country to the extent of losing their lives.
He gave the assurance of the federal government's commitment to reform the force to address contemporary challenges facing it.
So all our barracks will be taken care of. All our logistic requirements in terms of vehicles, in terms of accoutrement, in terms of medicals, all segments of what is required of police officers to have for them to perform their duties.
Meanwhile, 53 suspects are in police custody for alleged looting and vandalism at the Kubwa NYC orientation camp. The Inspector General of Police said the suspects will be prosecuted. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
Now, Chairman, Nigeria Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, some state governors and ministers have engaged a group of religious and traditional rulers in Kaduna on ways of strengthening the peace, progress and prosperity of the country. Muhammadu Umar Ajingi was there.
A nostalgic moment at this conference hall of Arewa House. A nostalgia heightened by the presence of two persons. Mana Adamu Fika, the only surviving member of the 6-man committee that midwifed the establishment of the Arewa House, and Ali Sarki Mota, the chief driver of the late premier of the Northern Region, Sir Ahmadu Bello. The chairman Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, who delivered the Golden Jubilee lecture entitled Unfinished Greatness Towards a More Perfect Union in Nigeria, asserted that the nation's togetherness in prosperity is dependent on peace and justice, equity and inclusion.
It is therefore incumbent on all well-meaning Nigerians to leverage all progressive avenues and platforms such as this to interrogate our journey to greatness, our historical missteps, our accomplishments, and most importantly, the imperative towards a more perfect union.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu, lent support to purposeful historical reflections with a view to retracing the core values and lessons of history in order to identify the missing links in the quest for ushering a new Nigeria of collective aspirations. Former Vice President Namadi Sambo, who chaired the occasion, extolled the vision of founders of the Arewa House, stressing that the gains of the heroes past remain the surest guide to reinventing a working nation to the glory of the citizenry. Governor Nasu El-Rufai is particularly concerned about renegotiating the current pattern of governance with emphasis on true federalism that entails more visionary devolution of powers, resources and responsibilities to the federating units. The All Progressives Congress Committee on Federalism, he said, has captured in its 2018 report detailed workable roadmap of ushering effective and sustainable federal system that offers solutions to the many troubling national questions of the day. The Sultan of Sokoto, Abubakar Sa'ad, who lamented that the north of today, bedeviled by poverty and ignorance, was not what the late premier envisaged, called for sustained collaborations to salvage the region. In Kaduna, Maijama Adamu, NTA News.
Let's now go to the National Assembly, where the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, says there is need to review the definition of federal character and the Constitution. While declaring open the retreat for Young Parliamentarians Forum of the National Assembly, the Speaker believes the definition has caused limitation of opportunities to some Nigerians. Correspondent Lamia Lee tells us more.
As presently defined in the Constitution, federal character, says the Speaker, is at variance with current realities in the country. He notes that the provision limits national opportunities to geographical location without considering gender, persons with disability, and age classification. This strategy meeting, Gbajabiamila notes, will help chart a course for Nigerian youths to take the mantle of leadership at all levels of government.
I do intend to reconvene the House to consider a couple of very important things that will affect the young as well. That is the beginning of the electoral law, the PIB, and more importantly, the bills that are already in the system concerning the development of the youth. So we will hopefully by next week take 1 or 2 days to consider those bills and others.
I hereby plead with the generality of Nigerian youths to always apply peaceful methods to draw attention of relevant authorities to your demands. Violence is never the answer.
In a related development, the House Committee on Rules and Business says capacity building for lawmakers is necessary for effective discharge of duties. It was at a retreat that aims to enhance legislative procedure pertaining to bills, motions and resolutions.
We're here to exchange ideas, sharpen, deepen our knowledge of the system with a view to improving the modus operandi of the committee.
Our resource personnel, especially on this program today, are retired directors who have passed through like 35 years in the legislative. So we have a lot of knowledge about this.
And a lot that we have been taught in these past few days have just entrenched yet again the values and those things that are needed for us to pass laws.
The Committee on Rules and Business is in charge of all legislative documentation. Lami Ali, NTA News.
In health, as part of its efforts to become a world-class and apex treatment and reference center, the National Hospital is not relenting in their quest for ending medical tourism. Serafina Okono-Mekwe reports that the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, who was at the hospital for inspection of 2 newly acquired linear accelerator machines for treatment and management of cancer, said the federal government's top priority is implementation of universal health care coverage.
The medical system keeps evolving. The National Hospital Abuja is keeping up with the trend in diverse areas of specialty in pediatrics. Cancer management, cardiology remains its original destination as Center for Laboratory Diagnostics and Trauma Center. A tour at the new annex known as National Center for Cancer and Radiation Medicine has 2 new linear accelerator machines for radiotherapy with dedicated CT scan machines.
80% of my doctors abroad are Nigerians. What can we do? It means that we have brains in Nigeria. But when it comes to where they can have equipment to work with, I'm sure a lot of them will want to stay back and work.
The country needs to be able to retain its manpower, develop more and keep them. Some of them keep checking out, but we have tried to encourage them with incentive. We have introduced intramural practice where they can be fulfilled in terms of their total take-home.
While health is very important, we look forward to the investment in the health sector increasing to the 15% that is contained in the Abuja Declaration.
On universal health care coverage, Dr. Ehanire assured that the Buhari administration is taking health care to every part of the country, provide basic services, strategizing reviving state government secondary health care, as these would reduce the rate of child maternal mortality. Serafina Okono-Mekwe, NTA News.
The power sector has again, in less than 1 week, recorded yet another national peak generation of 5,520.40 megawatts on 30th October 2020, surpassing the previous 5,499 megawatts recorded on 28th October 2020 by 60.90 megawatts. A statement by the General Manager of Public Affairs Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, in Ndedemba, states that the new national peak is as a result of continuous collaboration among players and the gradual increase in capacity in the power sector. With the current capacity of 8,100 megawatts, TCN says it seamlessly transmitted the new peak through the nation's grid. As players in the power sector value chain continue to work together to improve the nation's power supply, TCN implores everyone to help protect power infrastructure nationwide and desist from bush burning or burning of trash beside transmission towers or under power line cables nationwide. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari is commiserating with the people of Achala community and the Anambra State government over the demise of Igwe Alex Ezobanwokedi, the Otoko of Achala. In a statement, the president also condoles with the Igwe Council of Achala on the loss of the former chairman, Anambra State Council of Traditional Rulers, and former chairman of 9 Eastern State Council of Traditional Rulers. President Buhari recalls the contributions of the departed to national development as manager, Group Public Affairs of the NNPC, and as Chief Press Secretary to the then General Olusegun Obasanjo as military head of state from 1976 to 1979. The president noted that the Igwe left his footprints on the sands of time and prayed God to rest his soul and comfort all those who mourn him. This is Nationwide on the NTA network service. Do stay with us as we pause for some commercial break.